Many of you know that we are primarily EVE Online enjoyers, and the developers of EVE Online are making a FPS EVE Vanguard. So we're trying to stay informed to what's happening in the market with other FPS games. And yes, Bellular, it's that time again, has talked about the Battlefield beta that recently happened. Says Battlefield has never had this chance. And unironically, Battlefield might be one of the best FPS games to come out in recent memory. In a market full of Nicki Minaj skins and like Family Guy dances, is Battlefield the game to bring back FPS games? Let's see what Bellular has for us. Let's check it out.
In case you haven't been paying attention, EA really has been having a bad time. And for them, everything is riding on Battlefield 6 actually being good. And this is a game with a real tall order. It's got to reunite a fractured fan base, it's got to recover from a previous dud release in 2042, and it's also got to do the small little thing of keeping EA's executives and investors happy. All at the same time, which is tough, but so far, there are some good numbers. 500,000 wish lists in just a few days, millions of views. It really seems Battlefield 6's reveal has been perfect.
I'll turn up a sound.
But you know how things are in this channel. Behind the scenes, we've got reports that not all's great. Apparently, developers are burning out, and one of the reasons why is insiders report that EA expects 100 million players, which is actually more than Battlefield has ever sold. And I don't just mean any given Battlefield, I mean all of them, combined. Ever.
Sheesh.
So it seems that something doesn't quite add up. There's another fun thing going on. Vercel's V0 and every no-code tool on Earth have empowered a whole generation of vibe.
Listen, before we watch his ad, we are going to watch his ad because we want to respect his video. I want to talk about this. The producers, the bosses, expect Battlefield to sell more than all Battlefields combined. This is a ridiculous number. It's very hot in my room today, chat, so I'm just so emotional by Bellular's news coverage. So it's very hot in my house today. Pray for your freaking boy. This is important to understand that when we talk about FPS games, we need to understand that FPS games are in a very strange spot where slop has been selling, in my opinion. Call of Duty, putting out a new game every year. I haven't played Call of Duty in years because Warzone was great, but then another game came out another year later. I have to spend more money, and the skins I had are now useless. And then a game after that, the other one come out and the skins are now useless. You know, Battlefield 42 was not well received for various reasons. You go look in the Twitch directory and it's just not being played. So the problem right now with FPS games is a combination of two things. There's macro problems at the top, and he was just talking about that with the developers, with the bosses of the developers, not even the devs, but the shareholders that they're beholden to, having what we'll call on this channel, on this video, toxic goals. 100 million, whatever number he said, never sold that much, all of them combined, and that's what they expect to sell. Terrible. And at the bottom, you have cheating as one of those things where cheating is rampant. You have every game wants to be its own esport, but every game has a 2-year lifespan. So why do anything? You know, there's FPS games are in a really strange position. This is one of the reasons why I think EVE Vanguard, the FPS being developed by the makers of EVE Online. That sounds weird, but it's already connected to EVE Online. There's already a stake and a reason to play EVE Vanguard outside of just playing an FPS game. There's lootables, and what we've seen from the game is what they've released so far is the new guns they put out. So there's a lot of new things and interesting connectivity, reasons to keep playing that other games don't have. So that's why we're going to keep getting this, let's call it perspective on other FPS games. And again, we are going to watch his hashtag ad. We're going to watch the whole thing because we want to respect the work that Bellular has put into this. I'm also going to like the video. We're going to link it at the end of this. Let's check it out.
Coders, I'm sure you've heard the word.
Let's see what he's doing.
My editors are now making internal tools for our team that previously I need an engineer for. That's awesome, but there's a dragon. It's called Backend, and my sponsor, Boot.dev, exists to help you slay that dragon. And I'm not even being cheesy. Boot.dev is all themed and built as a role-playing game. It's made by a gamer for fellow gamers, and it fits my weaknesses. Coming from C# game development and my education and background, front end has always been kind of easy mode and intuitive, but wiring databases, doing auth, all that stuff feels like obscure wizardry. That's why I swear by Boot.dev. Lane and the team have
it's pretty cool. I know this is a hashtag ad. Go check out his. Don't use my link. I don't have a link. Go use his link. He's the sponsor down here. Yeah, use his sponsored link. Don't Google Boot.dev. Go click on Bellular's link. So if you're watching this VOD, click on his video and then click on this link. Go use it. He got the sponsor. Go definitely check it out. What I like, and I'll get off of this thing is it's easier to code than ever. That's pretty cool. They've gamified how to do coding. That's pretty sick. I like that.
So quests, XP, a guild-style Discord that is super active, into a curriculum that's laser-focused on serious back-end chops. So I'm talking about things like actually understanding data structures, API, auth flows, algorithms, Docker, the whole works. You'll build and deploy a server-client Pokedex, remake asteroids in Pygame. You'll even tackle job search preparation. Basically, as much fun as vibe coding can be, it does skip a bunch of steps.
Vibe coding is something we've talked about actually in the past. It's a buzzword right now. Vibe coding just means that you don't exactly know how to do everything you're doing, and you're using AI-assisted tools to help you to code better. As someone whose best friend is a literal staff engineer who does back-end dev work, you can vibe code to learn, but don't put that in production. So Rear Admiral, exactly. You're like, that's what I do. I wouldn't do that into prod. You have to understand the code. It can help you to get a nice base. AI tool in a macro sense, we've talked about this, is really good helping you to get a start, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. It should help you to move forward, but not be the thing that you push to production. So
that you really should take, and Boot absolutely sorts that. So no more tutorial hell, no more.
Thanks, Gio. I'm going to keep turning the sound up. Yeah.
Just a structured path that turns all that vibe coding energy into viable engineering that you can actually depend on. And Boot keeps on adding features like, say, the searchable spell book and constant.
Yeah, his ad section is really low on the sound here, so I'm going to be monitoring the sound. I'm going to turn this up. My editor also in post will do this. Thank you very much, editor. You're doing great work, buddy.
New content drops, like for an example, the massive TypeScript module. Pretty huge, and there's a hack to save even more money. If you go to boot.dev/Bellular News, code Bellular News gets you 25%
Uses
off
code,
your
chat.
first purchase. So
Uses code.
buy the yearly plan for the largest saving, and if you don't gel with it, don't worry, because there's a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay, so before the Battlefield 6 reveal, everyone kinda knew what was coming, at least bar one major feature. Leaks from Battlefield Labs and data mining showed us that it was basically going to be the Battlefield reset. Now, there is a strong contrast here. At the very same time, Call of Duty is getting just memed on for these cel-shaded American dad skins.
Right.
You got Beavis and Butthead cosmetics. What the hell is Call of Duty anymore? It's completely deviated into the lands of
Fortnite. And the problem with this is that it's just so, I can't believe this is where we are. Fortnite as a game, this worked because the game was already kind of goofy at a base. Call of Duty devs, Activision Blizzard, who owns Call of Duty, Activision owns Call of Duty, saw the money that Epic Games and Fortnite were making, and they decided to do it themselves. The problem is, Call of Duty is supposed to be a tactical, fast-paced war game, not whatever the hell this is. And great point on Haggis in the vertical. You can't out Fortnite. So this is weird. And it basically lost the brand identity chasing the dollar. You're right about that, Maximus. Correct. Which is why Battlefield 6 coming out and being such a hardline military-esque shooter, this could be their moment.
What the hell is Call of Duty anymore? It's completely deviated into the lands of slop. So for Battlefield, that's fairly good, right? Their big competitor is kind of on a downswing. And because of this, a feeling started to build. One where Warzone was losing its way, where Battlefield might be back. Of course, forget that Battlefield has literally never outsold Call of Duty.
Ever.
No. This was all about the vibes. We still can't ignore 2042. It disappointed at launch, and sure, it was, in a way, a miracle. That might sound insane, but basically, that game was built from the bones of an extraction shooter in a single year, and by a company that, by that stage, had completely been torn to shreds with massive...
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was only built in a year after all that. And this is a really, really good point that Bellular's making. Battlefield is not something that has ever outsold Call of Duty because it's, and this is kind of the whole point of this video, he said the vibes are there for Battlefield 6 to hit. The culture has shifted away from mass Fortnite, whatever the hells, to needing an actual military shooty boy. One sec, chat, my tech is being stupid. Now is the time for Battlefield to actually sell some stuff. And by the way, I think the same for EVE Vanguard, where you have it's not just going to be a shoot them in the head and go to the next enemy kind of game. There's quests, there's level ups, there's from what we've seen, things you can get into that isn't just Go to left area of map, kill this named enemy, like how Marathon was. You know, that was such a freaking travesty, chat, that this, you know, we've talked about Marathon enough. Okay, so I think Bellular is correct that the culture, he says vibes a lot in this video, the culture is needing this right now, and maybe Battlefield 6 is going to be it.
Turnover. They then rebuilt the game over the 3 preceding years. It's substantially better now, but that does not change the deep and widely held perception of it being quite bad. And also, there's a fundamental problem. The community is fractured, right? It's split between 2 world wars, multiple modern games, console spin-offs, and wild tonal mismatches. What is Battlefield kind of depends on when you pick the franchise up. I started in the likes of
That's a good point.
Vietnam, 1942, and Battlefield 2.
I don't think Battlefield is the time period. I think Battlefield is mostly a large-scale battlefield. Like, that's its niche compared to Call of Duty. Call of Duty has like 100-something people, maybe 200 people in the war zone. Battlefield has what, like thousands? Maybe is it like a couple hundred in there? You know, it's much, much bigger. It has so much potential, Jester, yes. So I don't think it's so much about the time period. I think it's more about the feeling of scale the Battlefield has. You're literally in a battlefield instead of like a town, right?
So I'm very old and crusty. For a lot of other people, it's bad company. So you've got
True.
a divided base, bad PR, eroded brand value, which obviously meant the watchword on social media was no pre-orders. So the reveal happened. 500,000 Steam wish lists after the single player.
Don't pre-order games. I don't care if you're hyped. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Here's why. I'm pro-consumer. You, the viewer, are my number one priority. If you're going to buy the game, here's why. For 10 years now, plus, game studios, developers, publishers, put them all in the same box. Games companies have not put out good products at launch consistently. You're better off waiting a month or two, maybe a month after something launches, to see what's going to be fun and good. Too often now, people are chasing trends and they say, oh, this game is super fun. They play it for 3 months. They go to a new game. We don't do that here. Okay. We want you to spend your money effectively and your time effectively. It's one of the reasons we talk about EVE Online, because EVE Online, you can take a break and it's still there. It's a great game. It's the best MMO ever because your time is rewarded with what you put in. So same is going to be for EVE Vanguard, right? Anthem, dude. Anthem burned the hell out of me. I would love an Iron Man simulator. Doesn't matter. Destiny 2, one of the most complicated monetization structures I've ever seen in an entire game. It's why I don't stream and make content for Destiny 2. I have a lot of hours in Destiny 1 and 2. A lot. Destiny 1 was my main game for a long time. We don't make content for it because I can't support that kind of monetization structure. At least EVE Online has sales on their stuff. And at least it's like free to play, pay to play. That's basically it for EVE. There's other add-ons, but you can pay for it or you can play it for free. That's it. Don't pre-order games. I know Battlefield 6 is going to be great, but literally don't pre-order any game because we'd like it to be good, but maybe it won't be.
Their trailer, and then top seller in Steam. So I suppose so much for the no pre-orders. People just wanted to fork over money for a game they couldn't play because pre-orders.
I mean, look, 7.5 million views on their trailer. People were saying, well, I guess I'm going to get it. The store page drew in nearly 500,000 wish lists over the weekend. So you have to understand, if the rule of marketing says if 1%, I like to call it the rule of 1% because I did marketing in my day job for a decade before this. So if there's 7 million views, you can look at the ratio and kind of compare them. So 7 million to 500,000. That's a big percentage. Okay, what is that? Let's do this. 7.5 divided by 500K. That's a ratio. Actually, it should be the other way if we're going to do a proper percentage. Okay, this is important, y'all. Okay, it's a 6%. Call it 6.5%. Okay, that's a big percentage. You have a successful marketing campaign if you get around 1%. Let's assume that half of this percentage of wish lists bought the game. That's generous. Let's assume. Okay, so some of you are saying like 15%. No, I'm a marketer. I can tell you, if you do a marketing thing and you look at this and you go, all right, 7.5 million views, we had 6% returns, they're popping champagne bottles because they expect 1 to 2% as like a baseline. 3% is a healthy campaign. So let's say 3%. This is 6.6%. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to say. Let me go to, let me do this. This is 6.6%. Okay, that's still hard to see. Edler, you can take this part out. Thank you very much. This is 6.6%. There we go. Let's get away from the text. Let's say this is 3% difference. What's the sales numbers there? Okay, let's do 0.03 times 500,000 is 15,000 sales times $60. That's $1 million. Okay, that's $1 million on just sales. Just the first day, wish lists. There's more wish lists now. They made $1 million in like a week. This is a successful marketing campaign. The numbers are sound. I'm not throwing these numbers out. I did this for a decade. You can assume that's what happened. Okay, this is how marketing campaigns work. This is my bread and butter. All right, so I'm missing a zero there. I might be. And if I am, even more. So, right? I put things on my Steam wish so I can watch for the 60% off sale. Also, fair point, Timothos. So 9 million. It might, and you're right, because of the RPMs, Mosh Pit, it's 9 million, not 900,000. You're right. So it's 9 million. Okay? Even bigger. I say don't pre-order games, but you can do what you want. I'm not your dad. This is still shows confidence in the actual campaign. So let's see.
Thing that people do. Anyway, add to that millions of views in the multiplayer trailer and a humongous marketing campaign that undoubtedly cost them millions. They had hundreds of creators broadcasting hype and praise. Do you know what? It did kind of work. But only because the game basically just looked like a scientific formula of exactly what fans would want.
Yes.
And in a way, we shouldn't be surprised. They had 4 studios, right? 4 components of the overarching Battlefield
studios.
Look
at this. Look, this is gameplay. Look how smooth this looks. You've got a uncluttered UI, all things considered, for 2025. Minimap in the corner. Objectives on the top. This, as long as this portion of the screen is decently clear, like I want to see where the capture points are, but I can like look down to see where the minimap is, but I can look back up, right? So, and the kills are down here, not like in the center of your screen. I like this. This is good.
Overarching Battlefield studios that basically just made kind of what the leaks promised. So essentially for this game, think Battlefield 4 reimagined. Add to that Battlefield 5's movement, which I must say was incredible. The tone of Battlefield 1 and the environmental depth of Battlefield 1.
So good.
Add to that more explosions and you basically have something for everyone.
Right. And the destructible environments is one of the best parts of this. The fact that you can blow up a house and it like falls down and it changes how the battle is waged. So every map feels different. So don't we all, Anarchon? I'm telling you, right? Nitro, yes. Big deal, huge stuff coming in. This looks good, Crab. It definitely does. So there's nothing wrong with wish listing a game, as Timothos said on Steam, to watch for the pre-order, to watch for the sales. But if you're unsure, just don't buy the game. There's no reason to give money to it if you just hold for a little bit. You know
everyone.
Austin, thanks for the 2 bones. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
This is a game that cannot fail. And even before the reveal, they were managing expectations here. They were promising playlists that were locking weapons to classes in the beta. They actually then confirmed that for full launch. They were doing everything to make players happy. Obviously so. EA can't afford frustrated players. Not even one frustrated player. Not when, reportedly, they need 100 million of them. So let's talk about...
Which is pretty nuts. Competitors COD 4 now are posting astonishing players and revenue numbers. EA's executive leadership believed Battlefield had the potential. A lot of lofty player targets were set for Glacier, 100 million players. So this is like a really stupid thing to say. And I honestly don't know if this is the whole story. Because you see this ... This ... is everything. There could literally be 5 pages in between this and this. This is a massive memo. What I'm trying to... Okay, so let me give you CEO speak here because as, again, a marketer for many, many decades, this is something you have to understand. First of all, this is EA owns Battlefield. Red flags. EA has not done a single damn good thing in like 10 years. It's just not been good. They've been absolutely killing everything that they've been touching. They're the anti-Midas. Like whatever they touch turns to dust. It sucks. But the culture has shifted away from the COD, Fortnite, cartoony stuff. Let the kids make their things. What this actually reads as is...
Hi, I'm an important EA executive. Call of Duty and Fortnite have made hundreds of millions of dollars, potentially billions of dollars, doing these things. We want you to do the same.
What the problem is, I don't think that they're going to be able to do that because they're by definition not hitting the same audience. COD Fortnite audiences are going younger, okay? Going to kids. All right, that's who's doing this. If they're doing a big Battlefield military style, this is not kids, okay? It's not as, put it to you this way, it's not as many kids. So this will outlive and do more than this, because this is the audience that has the more funds quantifiably. The most powerful card in the game is the credit card, not a meme, a real thing. So that is something. I don't know if they're going to hit 100 million players. I still think the game will be good, but if they don't hit this 100 million, it might not be good enough for the investors. We'll have to see where that goes.
About if EA are sane and hinged. The 100 million number I've been talking about comes from Ars Technica's investigation into this, and honestly, it's kind of rough.
Question on the vertical. Someone says, who cares about EA games? We're here for EVE content. This is EVE content. EVE devs are making EVE Vanguard. And if you want EVE Online to succeed, you need to understand, and at the very least, check out EVE Vanguard if you like FPS games. If you don't like FPS games, then I'll see you next stream or come back in an hour, because we'll do more EVE content then. But in order for us to be informed consumers, there are EVE players. Some people think the Venn diagram is like this, and I don't care if this looks sexual. This is how the Venn diagram works. There are people that like EVE and play FPS games. Don't listen to the Bitter Vets chat. This is what they think the Venn diagram looks like. This is not how it looks. Okay, this is how it looks. I know they exist because I exist. Type 1 in chat if you like FPS games and like EVE Online. Go ahead, type the number 1 in chat. Let's see it. I want to. Do you exist, ladies and gentlemen? Vanguard devs, I hope that makes you super happy. There's a need. There's a want. Make a damn good game.
Much this
and I think
has
you will.
Involved some broken eggs.
Well done, chat.
Basically, they have allegedly huge expectations, and those expectations have wreaked havoc. And I'll start with Ridgeline Games. It collapsed in 2024, and the cause was basically no oversight and impossible demands with not enough staff to pull off what they were tasked. And apparently this
2024 Ridgeline was shut down. Halo luminary Marcus, this means he worked with Halo, left the company, so the creative lead left, and the rest of the studios were left to pick up the pieces. Sources in the EA teams outside Ridgeline, was owned by EA before it died, told me that they weren't proper check-ins and internal reviews on the progress. If you watch some of these other videos, where does culture stem from? Where does success stem from? Okay. Does it come from the bottom? Does it go from the top? It's top down. If the culture at the top is bad or non-existent, then there will be a bad culture downstream. This is a failure of leadership. This is a failure of the people at the top. This is a failure of the Ridgeline devs, and it looks like of Marcus Leto, whoever that is.
All led to the single-player campaign falling behind its schedule. Meanwhile, well, across everything, you just had long-ass hours and people burning out.
There it is.
You've got DICE veterans reportedly bristling under centralized EA leadership. You've got leadership that reportedly said...
Can I tell you that this is the number one thing that I don't do in my internal team? My editor, I just had a conversation with him yesterday about burnout, and I have scheduled out a month's worth of videos and planned a month's worth of streams. We take this very seriously, y'all, this brand of ours. And I told him, I don't want you doing that months of content this week. I know you want that money. I'm going to pay him for it. It's all paid work at chat. Obviously, come on now. I told him, don't do the month ahead of time. Don't do it because you'll burn out. I don't want you to kill yourself with all this stuff coming in. I want you to have a good time. And he was very receptive. And, we're going to do this right. Burning out and long hours, chat. I told him, I don't require him to work on weekends. I don't want him to work on a Sunday night. If you get ahead, great job. Then you're ahead and you're good to go. This culture flows downstream. When I get social media artists, editors, all these various things, I'm going to tell them the same thing. Because I know I'm responsible for my company's culture, for my team's culture. And I take that seriously. Looks like they didn't.
Long ass hours.
That's right, Casperio.
And people burning out.
A little
You've
sip
got
action.
DICE veterans reportedly bristling under centralized EA leadership. You've got leadership that reportedly set an incredible target. To quote from the reporting, a lofty player target was set for Glacier. which is BF6's
I don't think they are present anymore, Maximus. The original DICE team, I don't think they are.
codename. 100 million players over a set period of time that included post-launch. Yes,
Sheesh.
that does seem kind of insane. And according to this report, the budget of this game is over $400 million, which is obviously a shitload of money, but for EA, well, they want this to be a multi-billion-dollar tentpole. So let's add context to this. Apex Legends took 2 years to hit that 100 million player benchmark.
Good context.
Call of Duty Warzone was able to get that, but it took 13.
Let's look at this. Call of Duty Warzone took however long he said, but they hit 100 million players globally. Now, whenever you look at this, though, we're going to do some anti-marketing speak because you have to understand this. This is meant to be big number good, but not necessarily meant to be truth. 100 million players could mean that not 100 million players bought the game, 100 million players installed the game. How many of that percentage played the game for an hour and left, right? So you have to, this is how you're getting the real tea here, okay? 28 billion matches equivalent to 67 million major tennis tournaments. Tennis tournaments? Why? Of all the analogies,
well, how can we make these numbers sound better? Well, how many tennis tournaments is it? How many tennis matches is one Call of Duty game?
What is this comparison? This is so weird. Are there, of all the things to do, like,
how many Call of Duty matches is it? I don't know. How many commutes to, the beach and back? Yeah, maybe people do that.
I don't understand. What is this, dude? It's so weird. I don't get it. This is interesting. 8.3 billion gulag fights. That's kind of cool. Okay. 8 billion teammates revived. More than the world's population. See, that's a kind of a cool stat. That actually makes sense because it gives scale to it. So, yeah, what the heck is this? So weird. 26 billion parachutes were deployed. That's such a... Who's doing these stats, bro? How about headshots? How about guns unlocked? Not parachutes deployed. This is very, very strange. So sometimes sometimes the marketing team sits down and what happens is from on high, they're told, use this thing. Maybe they had an obligation where they put a sponsor obligation where they put Call of Duty ads at tennis matches. Maybe that's why they did it. That's so weird. It is such a weird metric, right? Like 28 billion matches. That's equivalent to 67 million tennis tournaments. Like, who did this?
18 months. And, it was Call of Duty.
Oh.
So it's...
Hey, Chad, is it good to start EVE in 2025? Type 1 in chat if it's good to start EVE in 2025. Real McAfee. My answer is yes, but let the chat tell you. Type 1 if it's good to start EVE in 2025. I'll let you be the judge, Real McAfee.
Absolutely humongous, and it also had COVID momentum. So even with all that, it still needed 13 months. As for Battlefield, well, Battlefield has got 80 million lifetime sales. That's total. Well, yes,
Sheesh.
Sales are not players, but still, 100 million, if true, is an absolutely wild target. It would almost require players from, like, loads of other shooters to just kind of abandon their games and all flock to Battlefield. And you know what? EA's...
Really good point from Bellier. Something called TAM. TAM means total audience measurement, total addressable market, whatever you want to call it. In order for Battlefield, it's like this. Here's COD, okay? COD. Let's say this is Fortnite and this is correct, okay? This is Fortnite, okay? Battlefield is the little fish. So you would need these players to come over to Battlefield in order to make it larger. Now, this is not like to scale, but it's a good visual representation. So the total audience measurement, the total audience is all of it. Okay? When you talk about all FPS enjoyers, this is what we're talking about. So it's a really, really good point that in order for Battlefield to hit its metrics, you're going to have to steal Fortnite members, Warzone members. And I think they will if they lean into the brand's identity being more clear, especially in the Call of Duty market. Fortnite, I don't think they're going to be able to take as many people straight up. I just don't. Call of Duty, I think they're going to be able to take the bulk of them. Because, yeah, Durka, this is not a green cup. This is a void cup. This is my Caldari Navy water, okay?
Ace card, the trick up their sleeve, is a feature I've not talked about yet. that may just be the main way that they could
stuff.
do that. But as far as ifs go, that's an absolutely humongous if. And yes, they are of course planning a free-to-play battle royale to help out. I mean, it's not like the battle royale component of Splitgate 2 did that any good.
True.
I would at least say the Battlefield gameplay format does feel like it fits battle royale a bit better.
Yes.
Now, understandably, this quote from EA.
Splitgate is an FPS that was launched, and then they actually went back into beta after feedback. They unlaunched the game. I've never heard of this before. So I heard that and I was like, what? They unlaunched the game. They said,
Listen, we're gonna go back into beta and unlaunch the game.
and I was like, I didn't know you could do that. You know, what's the meme? That's so funny, dude. What the heck?
Technica feels appropriate.
That's true though. Delta Force 2 is up there as a big competitor.
Given how insane these targets seem to be. Quote, nothing in our market research or our quality deliverables indicate that we would be anywhere near that. So that's EA kind of denying what's in the report. So what's the logic here? Well, maybe EA has got some very long-term view of what post-launch is, and 100 million is something they're comfortable reaching in like 4 or 5 years. Or maybe
They can get it at some point, but if the EA executives, there's a difference between setting a goal that is aspirational versus setting a goal that is going to hurt morale. And you know what I mean? It's EA we're talking about. I don't trust them. It's why we say don't pre-order games. Battlefield 6 looks great. I have high hopes. Maybe we'll check it out. We'll have to see it. But it's EA.
Post-launch is, and 100 million is something they're comfortable reaching in like 4 or 5 years. Or maybe they looked at Call of Duty Warzone and thought, yeah, sure, we can do that. Or maybe
How many tennis tournaments? Sure, Battlefield 6. What I really want to know is how many Battlefield matches it takes to get one tennis match done. You know, how many bullets served? How many bullets were shot in the Battlefield beta? I don't really understand bullets. How many tennis balls? How many? Can you equate it to more tennis metrics? That's what gaming needs, is more tennis-based metrics to understand how many Battlefield sales happened. How many tennis rackets did they use in Battlefield? Why do they do this?
they simply set targets based on development costs,
He's
not
losing
realistic projections, and at a reported $400 million, holy shit, this one's pretty expensive.
How much?
Now,
Okay,
that latter point would make sense in light of dragging...
How many golf tournament attendees? Can you equate to Battlefield downloaders?
Veilguard. It had famously unrealistic expectations, seemingly from how large its budget was, but obviously I think the money pit that game was is more a result of, the years and years of development and multiple restarts than it is the actual amount of money that went into the game that people were able to buy and play.
Veilguard is a perfect example of, we talked about this on our last video, of when politics is put before fun. Perfect example. The game did not do nearly as good as it was supposed to do. Dragon Age, one of the most interesting, excellent... I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. But the game was unfun at scale because they put their politics and their talking points first. There's nothing wrong with politics in games. Games are supposed to be an exploration. But when politics is the primary thing, you sacrifice fun for that. So you choose narrative over enjoyment. And the number one thing a video game needs to be is joyful, is bring a sense of wonder. I mean, look at that. That's cool. Too bad they chose real life politics and things of that nature over actual fun. Hopefully Battlefield doesn't do that as well.
Now, of course, these sources may just be reporting old goals to our...
Go back. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. He's cooler than I'll ever be. Look at my man's. He's got... You don't need no grill when you're a skeleton. You got diamond encrusted eyes. What in the Brandon Sanderson is going on here? Is this is he a Grand Inquisitor? Does he have the spikes in his eyes? Maybe so. That's freaking sick, dude.
These sources may
sick.
just be
Look at that
reporting
fit,
old
dude.
goals to Ars Technica. I do believe and imagine that they would stand behind the reporting and that they do believe that look, what these sources are telling them is true. But still, things can change, sources can be out of date. But the one thing I've not talked about thus far in this video is the new feature, or humongously upgraded feature, that could be Battlefield's single best chance at achieving anything near these
Sell me,
insane
Baylor.
goals.
Sell me.
To be honest, as a longtime Battlefield fan, I did not expect any crazy what else's, and that's because most of them
They're giving you the Forge. Halo Forge. Okay. I spent hours in the Halo Forge trying to make a cool map. If they let community maps be a thing, let the players make their own stuff. See, instead of, this is such a good idea, instead of doing more meme skins and getting money, let the players build racetracks and tournaments and crazy jumping puzzles. Let them do that. That gives more people more things to do. If you democratize the fun, the devs don't have to make as much content, which will let them make better content because they can focus on fun instead of sales. That's sick.
multiplayer reveal had leaked. But there's
Look
one
at
thing
this.
that didn't. Holy shit, it does appear to be pretty damn glaze-worthy. So, context. 2042 had something called Portal Mode. That was pretty cool. It allowed for custom game modes, and pretty in-depth ones. But BF6 is going way further. This is kind of insane. It is not just about changing settings in a server or making a custom game mode. It's actually full map customization, granular control over everything. That means custom UI. It means custom scripting. Yes.
Nature is healing. I've said this in other videos. 2025 into 2026, I think, is the year that you're going to see at least one major game studio close. Every year that politics and milking the player base dry, think Fortnite skins, every year that goes on, all that has to happen is one AAA dev, and God knows if it's going to be EA, it might be. All it takes is one AAA dev to do it right, to focus on what's fun for the players, because the market yearns for just fun instead of sales, instead of the cringy Nicki Minaj skins and American Dad finishing moves in Warzone, right? The market yearns for just good old-fashioned, let my buddies and I get a good romp. Let us have a good fun time. No homos. We have to do it. Maybe some homo for some of you. The point is that this is what we want. And if, Chad, is EA going to be the one to save gaming? Of all the people, is it EA? I never would have thought.
Scripting, code. And it turns out it's actually built on Godot. Godot is an open source game engine. It's a big up and comer, especially with, our friends at Unity making things a little bit spicy over the last few years. Now, of course, it is Godot hooking into Frostbite, but basically it's there as the front end.
That is a big deal because Unity, remember the big Unity debacle we covered 6 months ago, where Unity is one of the biggest game platform studios. So how to make this game is in Unity, Unity is a system, is the code, you know how when you build a house, you hire a team of construction workers and they pour concrete, they put the wood up, the lumber, all this other stuff. That entire mechanism is a construction company. Unity is that entire mechanism for building games. Unity was toxic for developers and studios, monetization. A lot of drama was coming out of this, and Godot was a competitor to Unity. This is a big deal because it means that the Battlefield's monetary restrictions are not as high as they would have been on Unity. Means they can focus more on having more fun instead of getting more sales. I'm starting to see what might be a perfect storm of winning for Battlefield 6.
The last few years. Now, of course, it is Godot hooking into Frostbite, but basically it's there as the front end. And if you want an example of what this actually allows for, this brings me back to my StarCraft 2 days. We've got a map that's basically a sky platform climbing challenge that they showed off. Basically think Halo's Forge mode, but quite massively. And the value here can really multiply fast. As an example, the press saw new modes that included top-down shooters.
Okay, World of Warcraft Classic. This is a big deal, and unironically, this could be freaking fantastic. So this is huge. World of Warcraft Classic is a solved game, is a 2+ decade old game. Why was it trending all of last year and earlier this year? Because top creators had the tools to make a fun event that was the only Fangs guild with Soda Poppin', Tyler One, all those guys doing all that crazy stuff. And yes, Pirate Software too. It was trending because of all these creators had the tools to make interesting content for us to enjoy. This is that on steroids. Like, I mean, look at some of this stuff. That is like only, what's the grounded, what's it called? Like the only up thing in Battlefield? And now if we can get community servers, boy, oh boy, they're cooking.
Apparently arcade puzzle games,
Yo!
board modes with custom UI, and most importantly, verified modes. Now those verified modes
Look at
would
this.
grant XP and progression. For me, that would be a really big thing. As fun as UGC stuff can be, it's user-generated content.
Yes.
If it doesn't hook into the...
That's what that's called. Player-made maps, player-made content. It's called UGC, user-generated content. And look, they've got a ring of exploding tanks that you have to like fly through. That's going to be super sexual. They have to fly through those rings with your fighter jets. Look at this. And you can make this with UGC tools.
modes with
That's great.
custom UI, and most importantly, verified modes. Now, those verified modes would grant XP and progression.
Oh
For me,
my
that-
God, I missed the biggest note. You can make user-generated maps that give you in-game currency items. Like, this is a verified map that a user has made that lets you continue your player progression. That might be it. That might be the whole, that one change might be the entire thing that this game needs to literally become an institutional shooter game. A literal decade game. That one thing could be it. The rest of this, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds cool. That one change has me intrigued.
really big thing. As fun as UGC stuff can be, it's
Yes.
user-generated content. If it doesn't hook into the core, numbers and things that they want your monkey brain to be very happy about, as you make your numbers go
Sick.
up, then for a lot of people, it's just a random side distraction. Yeah, we could talk about the over-justification effect and why
Sure.
we should really just be playing games for the fun of playing games, but look, the reality...
Hey, look, let's be honest. Would you rather squad up in Battlefield, and if your buddy just got the game and you're like, hey, come join this custom map, we can all romp around, but he's got a pistol and a crappy rifle. Now, if it's a verified custom map, like think in Team Fortress 2, I played a crap ton of TF2. If I wanted to go level up my spy and get more items, get more stuff, I could do that on certain maps, on custom maps. That's this. That's freaking sick.
is that matters.
Oh.
They're actually seeing that ahead
More
of time
optimistic,
is
Lord Luck.
pretty good.
Yes.
Especially because the
I felt
inclusion
exactly
of
the
XP and
same.
progression is something that 2042 just went back and forth on, but for Battlefield 6, they've actually got a day one plan. So going back to the idea of this is de-risked and there's truly something for everyone, yeah, holy shit. I mean, clans can finally get the 24/7 Metro servers of their dreams.
Yep.
If you're a content creator, you can build some mini games. But I've got to stop for a second because we all know who's really important. And that is, of course, the shareholders and their value. So let's talk about that. Because
Sarcastic,
what
Chip.
Battlefield Studios gets is audience-generated content, the big industry buzzword of the day. And that brings me back to one of my favorite men on earth, Andrew Wilson, the
What in the jump scare? That
interesting
scared me, chat.
CEO man of Electronic Arts. One of my favorite quotes from
Oh, he's the CEO of EA.
him is he called future game content future innovation creativity or something like that. I've never seen a man with such an ability for just pure CEO waffle, but this is kind of relevant. So
He's saying that the CEO said a bunch of nothing words that don't mean anything and is part of the problem. So he's being sarcastic about the shareholders, about like their value. The reality is that the shareholders are a big portion of the value. They think they have 80% of the value. They actually have like 30% of the value in terms of the company, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that like in a literal dollars. I'm talking about who's important. It's you and I. Don't get it twisted, y'all. The reason I say don't pre-order games, the reason I say even though this looks interesting, don't pre-order the game. You can wishlist the game for free, but don't pre-order the game because the power is with you. You, the player, you, the individual. Your money, you vote with your wallet. You vote with your credit card, your debit card. If you're following Dave Ramsey, it should be the debit card. You have the power, not the executives. Don't let these big conglomerates make you think you're small. We can't let one ant stand up because then they'll all stand up. You have the power, ladies and gentlemen. So if you don't like what you see, don't buy it. Straight up, So, right, that kind of CEO would attend a tennis tournament. I gotta tell you, what is with the tennis stuff? I did that market. I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time. Like, we're going to have a no stream meme. Be like,
Yeah, Loru, you're giving away $1 trillion ISK on your upcoming subathon, but how many tennis tickets, if I go see the tennis World Cup, I don't know what the hell it's called, how many tennis matches tickets is that though? Can you tell me? More at 11?
I don't understand it. I really
So
don't.
at an investor call before the showcase, he said this: "We've been investing more behind this Battlefield than any Battlefield product before it. And really the big reason for
hot
that
chat.
is this isn't just a product. We're really building out Battlefield as a platform."
Now this is a quote. Ladies and gentlemen, gaming is changing. You can't have forever games anymore that just are one thing. You need to democratize the fun creation. Halo Forge mode, Battlefield letting you make maps that also contribute to your XP is this. That's a big deal. When I say democratize, this is why I'm so intrigued about Eve Frontier as well, because CCP Games is making the survival space simulator. And they're making it so that you, the viewer, you, the player, can make your own items, can build your own ships. You're going to see this more and more. EVE Online, CCP Games was first with this kind of thinking. You're going to see this more and more. And the first AAA studio to get it right, they will change gaming forever. Maybe it's CCP Games. I didn't think it would be EA. Let's find out.
Assumed that purely just meant skins and microtransactions. And obviously it does, but that's kind of indirect.
That's right,
You see,
Janice Q.
back in 2022, during Battlefield 6 planning, Wilson told investors something key. The 20%
20% of EA gamers already create content for its games. 50% of player-based games use content. This is a huge... I don't think you understand. This is in 2022. 20% of the gamers create content for its games. That means that 20% of the EA gamers are already making some kind of map, doing something that makes content. This is not YouTube videos necessarily. This is like you make a map. 50% of the player base uses player-made content. Half of the people that bought Battlefield in 2022, 3 years ago, already doing it. It's already there. Imagine, and the tools aren't going to be as good as in Battlefield 6. Imagine what it's going to be when they actually do let you do it.
of EA gamers make in-game content.
It's a big deal.
That's a kind of shocking stat to me. I wouldn't have thought that was true, but anyway, apparently 50% of people engage with that content. Maybe The Sims is what drives those numbers, but anyway, then he dropped this.
Sure.
Quote, minutes engaged. And
That's a really good point. This is not Battlefield content. This is EA games. EA owns The Sims. The Sims is a very big player-made content, but when I tell you it doesn't matter, Sims or Battlefield, the principle goes up the chain. The Sims let users make content, and then other users can engage with that gameplay, maps, characters, whatever. The same thing applies to FPS games, to survival games. It's a macro thing that even though The Sims is like here, it applies up the chain to Battlefield. It's the same thing. Arma 3, yes. Creators get incentive for sales, and EA just slaps you the top dollar bill for crappy content. I don't think it's that nihilistic, Jay, but I also agree somewhat. So we'll have to see how they let the content creators monetize stuff too. Because if it's just I get ad revenue, we'll see. One of the things that's going to change drastically in the coming 10 years is the relationship between the creators and the game studios. The EVE Partner Program is awesome because they've done a lot of work that y'all don't see behind the scenes to help us creators to live and thrive off of helping them to be objective, sell their game. I don't work for CCP Games. I am not CCP Loru or CCP Murthy, whatever the heck it would be. You know, so the point is that I'm not that person right now. The point is, they're still helping us. Chad, we almost revealed things. We have to pause. I am working with them, and they're doing great, is what I'm trying to say. Stop talking, Laura.
But anyway, then he dropped this. Quote, minutes engaged and money spent correlates on an almost one-to-one basis.
Fun equals money. Is it EVE Online? I can't even say it. It's so good. Is it EA that will save us? Is it EA that will help us? Money equals fun. Okay? Minutes engaged and money spent. That's what that means. I can't, did a switch flick? Did the Hadron Collider like invert reality? How is EA hitting us with actual true things? And this was 3 years ago. Good point in chat. Well done. I can't believe it's EA. EA, I'm sorry. I was not afraid. I was not aware of your game.
So whether we create the content or our community creates the content, provided it's high quality, provided it's engaging, it represents an extraordinary opportunity.
Now, correct Cyrolfus in the Twitch chat. Actions are louder than words. We have to see it. And we will.
Us. So, in theory, right, creator tools keep audiences engaged. And that means that EA wouldn't need to go as grotesque or perhaps short-termist with their monetization as some other games. Obviously, they still might, because
if I get killed by Beavis and Butthead and imagine I don't know about this and I install Call of Duty, I load up Warzone, and if I get killed by a Beavis and Butthead duo, I'm uninstalling the game. If I get headshot by Cornholio, I'm not playing the game anymore. I can't handle it, dude. I'm not gonna. I work all day. You know, back when I had a 9 to 5, now I have a longer hours because I'm building this brand. You're telling me I end my 9 to 5, I sit down, I have a nice cold one, I open up Warzone, and Cornholio, that is what ends me? I'm uninstalling. I just can't deal with it.
Did say extraordinary opportunity, and I, of course, don't trust him. But still, with that context in mind, I think we can understand why they have put so much money, reportedly 400 million, into getting all of this right. Bring this all together.
A real good point from Dagda in the chat. Netflix, for example, said they were going to do Witcher straight from the books, and they just haven't. This is really important. We don't judge people on what they say here, because as a marketer, you saw it, that facts can be skewed. Numbers can be said. Call of Duty saying, we got 100 million players. But if it took them 20 years, you know, across all games, that's less impressive. It's still impressive, but less impressive. Because if they say Call of Duty Warzone, Call of Duty if they have the Call of Duty Warzone logo, and they say 100 million players, maybe that's across 20 years across all games. We don't know that because it might be how they're skewing it. So on this channel, we'll talk about what is, not what something sounds like. So
we've discussed EA's pillar-based business model before in this channel. You, of course, on the sports side have got FIFA.
How many Loru streams per match of Call of Duty?
Now, EA Sports FC, which is a bit of a clunky name, but you got that and Madden over on the EA Sports side of the business. Over in EA Entertainment, you've got The Sims. Battlefield was once a pillar, but EA kind of did see to that, didn't they?
That's true.
And I suppose big BioWare games were also a pillar, but EA also saw to that. But anyway, what then happened is competing demands and executive decisions weakened Battlefield as a pillar and weakened a lot of other things with EA Entertainment. What they need then is for Battlefield to be back as a pillar in a way where it's actually useful to their business and, you know, not just a video game that we could buy, play, and enjoy. Because that would be silly, wouldn't it? The industry's fine. Now, whenever they're investing 400...
I like how no matter who you talk to, no matter what person you watch, all of us gamers are feeling the same. And we're feeling like, dude, I just want a fun game. That's why Dune Awakening was so great, because it was just enjoyable. You know, they need to fix their end game. They need to actually have an end game, just to be direct, okay? Just to be direct. They need to build it out. But the games nowadays, AAA studios, the games aren't fun. They're buggy, they're crappy, you know. Like, look at Marathon. I was like, you know, so hello.
$100 million in a platform,
we'll have to see.
They do expect returns.
Yes.
In many ways, EA is a company that would only know how to build big.
It's hot in my house,
So Portal and Battle Passes create their revenue stream.
Yes.
But core development is what will define success here. That is the developers who work for years and years trying to give players exactly what they want.
Battle Passes are a good monetization structure, period, full stop. Battle Passes are good. You have a free tier that unlocks as you play, and if you give them money, you get more stuff. Just like any system, it can be used toxically. Look at Helldivers 2, used it very well. They were not toxic. You bought a Battle Pass, and you have it forever. If I stop playing the game for 6 months, I still have the Battle Pass when I show up. Other seasonal Battle Passes I don't love because it gives FOMO to it. It forces you to buy a thing and then makes, well, I have to play this season because I bought the Battle Pass. That encourages retention, but in a way that puts pressure onto the user. I don't like this. It's called obtrusive marketing. That's what I call it. It's something that negatively impacts you. It forces you to do something instead of encourages you to do something. Does that make sense? Being forced to do something versus giving you a carrot. Whipping your back saying you better do it now versus, hey, if you do this thing, you'll get a reward. They are subtle but different on how you do this. He kind of sturdy with it. So depending on how battle passes are good, but we'll see how they implement it. Exactly. Destiny 2, they did not do well with this. So correct. So what is there, like 20 currencies in Destiny 2 now? Like depending on the season, what are we talking about? If I wanted to, someone did a video 6 months ago. It's so hot in my house, Jan. If someone did a video 6 months ago that if you wanted to play Destiny 2 right now with your end game buddies, you would have to go spend like $300 and like hula hoop through a bunch of freaking currency loops to play a video game. How about no?
If you're an investor type, if you're in the market, you're thinking about UGC, you're thinking about time spent on brand and all of these fun, waffly things. But if you're playing the game...
Really good point in chat from Psycho Fluff. Says, if you miss the start of the season, I don't play for months. See, this is what the investors don't get, the people that are instituting these things. If the marketing is, if there's FOMO involved, if you've missed out, you won't try. So the whales give you money, but the viewers, the casual people are like, oh, it's midway through the season? Well, I don't want to start now because I already missed out. I'm not ahead. But if you can just buy the battle pass and it's active forever, yeah, I could check that out.
Care about the game. And you know what? It seems the developers have actually delivered on the game side of things.
Looks like it.
A lot of ex-veterans who left in the tumultuous times before Battlefield 6 apparently came back. And overall, it does seem this is a team that has delivered. And I'm saying that based on reactions to the beta. So the developers delivered, regardless of the business demands. And if Ars Technica's
gameplay in the beta looked good, period, full stop.
Reporting is anything to go by, well, it may not all be okay. I desperately hope it is. I want Battlefield to be a mainstay.
Get that umbrella.
Good Lord, Call of Duty needs to be smacked about.
Thank you.
It is an absolute embarrassment to games as a medium. Just the way it's developed, the shameless microtransactions, and just the point where, as someone who genuinely
What happened? What happened? Battlefield, you got the best chance in the world to get a military shooter that is good with UGC. The monetization, we'll have to see about it. This is your competition. The bar has never been lower. All you got to do is be better than this. Can you? EA? We'll see.
Enjoys Call of Duty, who bought Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and was happy with his goddamn purchase.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it because you know what? In my Call of Duty, I don't want to see Nicki Minaj knifing American Dad with some Zoomer, I don't know, bizarre knife thing that's probably also a branded.
It lost its brand identity. We were talking about Mistborn books before. Imagine Brandon Sanderson puts out a book that's about all about a basketball team on Roshar, or tennis match on Roshar. You know, he talks about his book 7 is all about Kaladin's cousin who's playing tennis on Roshar. You'd be like, what is this? Like, you can do this, I guess, but it's not even adjacent. It's just not good. It's not part of the story. Like, he did his secret projects where Triss and the Emerald Sea was so good, incredible. And as someone who loved Princess Bride, that was such a great book. He said that was the inspiration for that book. Awesome. What was the one? Yumi and the Nightmare Hunter. Was that it? Or was it Yuki? Was it Yumi and the Nightmare Hunter? Final Fantasy X is one of my most favorite games of all time. So that game was the inspiration for Yumi and the Nightmare Hunter. That makes sense, though, because it's in his universe. And even though it was different worlds, different stories, it was in the universe. No spoilers here. Imagine he makes a book about how the Rosharan women do their makeup. It's all about cosmetics and how they sell their makeup on Roshar. You can make that book, but you're going to go, the hell is that? Like, that's this. The brand identity used to be tactical, fast-paced FPS gameplay, and now you have Nicki Minaj shooting you with a pink gun while American Dad Fortnite dances on your grave.
Product, because that's hell, and I don't want to live
Hell,
there.
yes.
So, yeah.
Signed, voted.
Hopefully, not for the sake of EA, but hopefully for the sake of the industry.
Cosmetic mirror, don't give them ideas,
Get
motherfucking.
some proper
Don't do it.
competition in the shooter space. And I suppose since we live in a very cyclical world, well, Call of Duty, reached its apex. It's sort of
Like this kind of stuff looks kind of cool, but like Snoop Dogg, Black Cell, glowing, whatever the heck,
it's due in the calendar for Call of Duty to have its dramatic fall. And maybe it's finally time for Battlefield to do the whole underdog thing.
Yes.
The
Yes.
400 million.
I mean, that looks sick. I'll say it for the 1,000th time. I remember playing Halo, and if you saw somebody with the Hayabusa armor in your match, if they were on the enemy team, you locked the hell in because you knew you were about to have a bad time. And if they were on your team, you were like, boys, he's got the Hayabusa. He's got it. All right, let's go. It hyped you up. That doesn't happen at all anymore because nothing is earnable. It's buyable. That's the problem.
Dollar underdog because this is a weird ass industry.
This looks sick.
Are you interested in this? Gotta be real with you. I am. I love Battlefield, and I at least don't think we'll be getting American Dad,
Hopefully.
Homelander, Space Marines, Helldivers, or just any other weird shit in Battlefield. At least for now, because as I said, it's
See, the thing is, if we got Helldivers, if Call of Duty had a Helldivers collab or Warhammer collab, and there was big bulking armored dudes running around, that would still be adjacent enough that it'd be like, not on brand, but it'd be a brand adjacent. The problem is not skins in the game and collabs. The problem is American Dad and Beavis and Butthead and cartoons. Funny thing does not have a place in War Game Simulator. If you could get a Helldivers armor and skins, that'd be kind of sick. Running around with your Super Earth cape, that'd be kind of cool. If you can get a Warhammer armor set, that'd be kind of sick. But if I buy a Warhammer armor set and I get Fortnite danced by Nicki Minaj while American Dad is punching me in the private parts, that's now, what the hell are we doing here? What, it literally is like hell. I don't, it looks stupid. I don't like it. So,
and if Battlefield 6 is the success EA hopes it'll be,
Crazy.
maybe in 6 years it will turn into Fortnite-ified slop. So yeah, I look
Hope
forward
not.
to that. I'll see you in the next one if you want another fun video.
Chat, this is great.
The thing that's about to replace the
Thanks again, Baylor. I really like their stuff here. Definitely go support Baylor. Go give him a like and a sub. We're going to link it in here. It'll be in the description as well. Again, we're following this because I want y'all to stay informed on what's happening at the macro sense. And Baylor's news team and how they organize their information is some of the best looking stuff there is. So if you want more game news like this, check out this playlist right here. And if you want the best MMO and indeed space MMO guides, sub right here. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much.